Hello, good evening. We are live. We're back again to the sessions, and tonight or this afternoon, our topic we'll be talking about VAWA petitions. Um, and happy Women's Day, International Women's Day, and we will be talking about VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. Um, as you can see, we have our usual invitee, Cyprianne Rookwood, attorney at law, practicing in New York and New Jersey, criminal defense, family law, and immigration. And of course, I'm practicing here in DC, family law and immigration law across the country. We do work with individuals across the country when it comes to immigration matters and around the world. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to comment. We're talking about comments, not questions. So, and Cyprianne has her YouTube channel as well. I'm going to leave the link in the description box. Please go ahead and subscribe as well. And yes, we're going to talk about VAWA. And we know that a lot of people have been abused in their relationships, and we want to address that and hopefully provide some type of solutions, defining the word abuse, because a lot of people have a misconception when it comes to filing for VAWA. What is really abuse? How does immigration law defines abuse? So, Cipriani, do you want to give us an introduction of on VAWA, and then later on we will talk about abuse and the element of abuse.
Hi, Bijoux. Thank you again for having
Hi.
me on your channel. So today we're talking about VAWA. Again, happy International Women's Day to all the
Amazing.
amazing women out there who basically are keeping us together.
Right, right.
The men, them, probably, I don't know. Let me just focus, okay? Um, so we're talking about VAWA. You wanted me to do an introduction in terms of,
Yeah, who qualifies, right? Who qualifies to apply for VAWA?
okay, so in order to qualify to petition, petition under VAWA, you have to have a qualifying relationship first and foremost. So
Right.
you have to be the spouse of a U.S. citizen or a legal uh, resident.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can qualify as a child of a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident as well.
Right.
And also as a parent of a lawful permanent resident who's over the age of 21. So those are the qualifying relationship in
Mm-hmm.
order to be able to qualify to petition on the VAWA. The second thing is you have to show that you have been subjected to some sort of abuse, whether it's battery or extreme cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
A mother of the child or a partner of the child, because actually VAWA is now extended to both same-sex couples as well, so not just heterosexual couples, but also
Right.
same-sex. So a parent of the child who is subjected to um, battery or extreme cruelty can also file under VAWA, so long as the child is a minor, right? Which
Right.
makes sense. As a parent, it's your responsibility to protect your child. So if your child is experiencing abuse, you
Mm-hmm.
have to protect that child, and that
Mm-hmm.
might mean you need to remove the child from the other parent, or do what's necessary to protect the child.
Mm-hmm.
The other factor is you have to be residing with your partner. There's an exception to that rule, and we'll get into that. And then, of course, you have to show that you have good moral character. That thing keeps coming back, right? Good moral.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, the marriage has to be good faith. So it cannot be a marriage, was fraud to begin with. A lot of people um, come up with these elaborate schemes to try to get their immigration status. So marriage has to be a legitimate marriage in the first place. So that's how you qualify in the first place.
Right.
Earlier I talked about residing together. So if you are residing out of the US, you can still qualify to petition under VAWA
Mm-hmm.
if the your partner, your spouse, is an employee of US government,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're in the military, or I think the third scenario is you basically had to leave because you had maybe had nowhere else to go, and you had to leave because of you couldn't tolerate the abuse anymore. So
Right.
those are the three circumstances where you're not present in the US, and maybe in one of them you're not technically residing with your partner.
Right.
Now, as far as what constitutes
Abuse.
abuse, so for the purpose of immigration, because VAWA um, it expand beyond immigration, right? But for the purpose of immigration, domestic violence, of course, because of the qualifying relationship, it has to be a domestic violence situation. So domestic violence would be basically whatever is constituted domestic violence in your state. So in New York, it would be any violence against your partner. We have disorderly conduct, harassment, aggravated harassment, assault, criminal
Mm-hmm.
mischief,
Mm-hmm.
sexual abuse, strangulation, identity theft,
Right.
coercion, unlawful dissemination of public intimate image, which I guess would constitute sort of like an emotional distress.
Stress. Mm-hmm.
So anything that is, whether it's physical or emotional abuse, could
Mm-hmm.
constitute abuse for the purpose of
Right. So I wanted to add one more thing because some people miss out on the opportunity to apply for VAWA because, first of all, they don't understand abuse, um, and at some point they get divorced, and it has been 2 years they didn't really claim VAWA, right? So now it's like it's over. What should I do? But fortunately enough for those people, if you have experienced domestic violence, you can still claim another type of petition like U visa. You can claim under U visa because if you have been divorced and it has been 2 years since the divorce, then VAWA doesn't apply anymore for you because with VAWA we have a time frame, so deadlines. So if you couldn't comply with it within those deadlines, then it's not really over. So you can go ahead and apply for U visa, which we'll talk about it on another video. I've already talked about it on my channel in previous videos, but I just wanted to mention that it's not over until it's over. So you need to contact either me or Cyprianne if you have divorced long time ago and really you didn't know about domestic violence, that you could have claimed your petition under U visa. Remember, U visa, there's no status of limitation when it comes to U visa. You can still claim domestic violence under U visa, provided that you qualify, of course, for those requirements under U visa. But that's something to consider when we're talking about VAWA. So yes, do you want to elaborate more on abandonment in the concept of VAWA? Like, how does a spouse could abandonment be considered abuse? Abandonment.
So I suppose so, because we were talking about that earlier, right? I
Mm-hmm.
based on how they defined it, if based on how so according to USCIS, it says that some petitioners may misuse the immigration process. They understand that people will misuse the immigration process to
Process.
sort of perpetuate the abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a situation where your spouse, your US spouse, has decided to kind of show up to interview, not follow through with the immigration process, and use that as a way to coerce you or to intimidate you or to control you in any way, that I suppose can be constitute emotional abuse. So
Right.
it just depends. It can add on to that. That is a factor to be considered.
As abuse. Okay.
And also, I suppose outside of that context, if you've been married and the person has abandoned you, just
Mhm.
you don't know where they are, they just disappeared for whatever reason. That's also like an obvious issue of abandonment as well.
Yeah. What about if you thought you were getting into a marriage in good faith, but you come out, you came to find out that this marriage was not into good faith because the person was married, um, is still married to somebody else, but you go there and you get married to that person in good faith. What are you supposed to do in those type of situations?
So under the qualifying relationship, it does bring that scenario, and it does have that scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you, it says if you believe you were lawfully legally married
Mm-hmm.
to your abusive U.S. So that's just one part of it, right?
One.
Um, that's in order to establish you have to establish qualifying relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in an abusive relationship, you meet all the other eligibility prongs,
Mm-hmm.
but it's sort of hard to, you're saying, well, how do I meet the qualifying relationship? Because technically I'm not legally married to this person, so technically I'm not their spouse,
Mm-hmm.
for the purpose of the definition of spouse. Well, the USCIS says that if you believe, right, your intention was to be the spouse of this person, but because they committed a fraud, whether it's, and the scenario was they were legally married to someone else and they were terminated their marriage, and you went into this marriage thinking you are legally marrying this person, only to find out later that actually the marriage was a sham because the person is still technically well,
Married.
is still married to someone else, and therefore your marriage is not going to be legally recognized, because obviously in the U.S. we do not recognize multiple marriage. Is the
Right.
first one is the legal marriage. Any marriage after that is not a marriage for the
Uh-huh.
purpose of what we, you know. So in that situation, you can still qualify to file VAWA.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's just one part of it. You
Mm-hmm.
still have to show that you've been abused. You still have to show that you have good moral character. You still have to show these other elements as well. That's just one element of the several different ways to qualify.
Okay. So, well, yeah, I guess I have all my questions answered. If you have more questions, please don't forget to comment below. Or if you want to schedule a consultation, don't forget to call the number on the screen or email. Consultation fees apply. But yes, we have covered VAWA, really. VAWA, something to keep in mind when it comes to VAWA, number of visas are unlimited because there are a lot of scenarios when it comes to VAWA, and people can still claim as long as, uh, first of all, they have to prove that marriage was entered in good faith, it's a valid marriage. However, because of the abuse, I can't stay in this marriage. So, and the petitioner cannot petition for me because pretty much the petitioner has decided to abandon me. Now I can claim VAWA. So you have to meet all those qualifications. And once you meet those qualifications, we file VAWA, then you get a prima facie case determination, which means that uh, USCIS will no longer require additional evidence, right? That's a first step. And then after a while, then they make a determination on your case, and then the case get approved. So we wanted to focus really on abuse, how to define it, how to know that, because a lot of people, what I've noticed is that a lot of people, when they're into those marriages, they don't know that they've been abused. Really, a lot of people. That's why you see people staying in a marriage. They're like, well, I just stay. I didn't know I was abused until it's too late. So if you can recognize those signs, then it's gonna help you to file within that deadline. Otherwise, the deadline is gone. Then you have to go back to U visa. But with U visa, the number of visa are limited. So and then it takes longer. So that's why we wanted to focus on abuse. So do you have anything else to add before we wrap up for the day?
No, no, not really. Thanks for having me. This was a really interesting discussion. domestic violence is something that is happening in across different communities, and it's really good that we have something like this to protect women. Obviously, we know women are not the only ones
Subject.
we're subjected to domestic violence.
Wow.
And so in light of this, and I also appreciate that you're doing this on this particular very special day
Uh-huh.
to celebrate women. So thanks again for having me, and happy International Women's Day.
Women's Day. Thank you. So you can go ahead and follow Cyprianne on her channel. I'm going to leave the link in the description box, and you can go ahead and follow me. You need to be following me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Okay. So
I've been watching your TikTok. They're so good.
yeah, TikTok is like, it's a little too much, but we're gonna try to keep up with it, because what else can we do? It's 21st century. It's all about internet. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm enjoying your TikTok, Bijoux. They're very fun, really. Giving me
anyway,
lots more money.
oh yeah.
But
Thank you for coming, and thanks for watching. Please comment below, follow. Don't forget to call for your consultation. Again, consultation fees apply as usual. Until next time, bye bye.
bye.